So we're here today at ROI 5. First of all, what is ROI 5, and also what does it stand for?
ROI is a gathering of young Jewish social entrepreneurs and leaders from all over the world. Here today we've gathered 120 young, innovative social entrepreneurs from some 27 countries around the world. ROI, from the business terminology, stands for Return on Investment. This year is our 5th year of the ROI Summit, and we've decided to use a play on the acronym ROI, and we've titled it Renewing Our Investment. This year, different from previous years, we've decided to take a time out from growing this international network to look inwards and ask ourselves some tough questions about where are we going and what do we want to do with this network. And one of the things that we've done is to gather our members who have participated in our gatherings over the past 5 years in order to gauge their feedback on how we can make this network more relevant to the work that they're doing around the world.
What can you tell us about any unique projects that were presented here that you were working on throughout the past few years?
So one thing that I think is very unique about this particular gathering is that we have people who had come to ROI 5 years ago or 4 years ago with ideas for projects that were at the pilot stage, or even some people came here in 2006 with an idea that was nothing more than a paragraph on a piece of paper. 5 years later, many of those social entrepreneurs are back here with us as managers and directors of nonprofit organizations. Well, one example is a woman in San Francisco named Sarah Lefton, who created an online initiative called Godcast, where she is trying to increase global literacy of Jewish literacy by creating online Parashat Hashavua, the weekly portions, using animation and narration in a way that is engaging and exciting for young people and old alike. Another example is a young man named Jeremy Hulsh, who is an Oleh from the United States, who came to Israel some 6 years ago, who had a dream to create a record label, a nonprofit record label called Oleh Records. And his vision was to export Israeli culture and Israeli art to Jewish communities around the world. Today, Jeremy is bringing Israeli music and Israeli acts around to Jewish conferences and gatherings all over the world. One other example that I'll just throw out there is a wonderful example of an environmental initiative called Jewcology.com, which is actually a collaboration of 17 ROIers who have participated in our events over the last 5 years, where they together are building an online platform for Jewish environmental activists to collaborate and share resources.
How do you deal with the diversity? I mean, we're talking here about Orthodox Reform, observant, non-observant, right, left. Can you work together, or do you always get to the point where people say we're not even on the same side sometimes?
So we've learned a lot of lessons over the last 5 years in terms of this notion of building community and reaching consensus. Consensus is a hard thing to reach. There's the joke about, 2 Jews and 3 opinions, and that's very much true. In the words of our founder, the philanthropist Lynn Schusterman, we are about creating communities in their image, and we're very much about building the most diverse community of activists from around the world that we can. When you do that and you try to bring everybody together, naturally tensions arise. There are a lot of divisive issues in the Jewish world, from everything from service to Zionism these days. There are 2 sides to every coin. What we try to encourage here in our space is an environment where we don't brush these issues under the carpet, but we try to talk about them. And what we try to do here is encourage our members to model the type of Jewish community that we all talk about. A community that is able to talk about these issues, where we don't necessarily agree, and we pride ourselves on the fact that we have such diverse opinions, but most importantly, we have a respect for each other, and that we try to truly listen to each other.